Just thought I'd open up with possibly the best cinematic use of the R-rated swear word ever.
You, Mars.
Welcome to Cinema Therapy. While the world outside burns, we are dreaming of living on another planet.
I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist. I'm from Arizona. Mars looks like Arizona. I feel a lot at home watching this movie.
And I'm Alan Seawright, professional filmmaker, and I'm from Utah, which is actually used as the backdrop for Mars. Like
many a film.
Half the time you need Mars.
Yeah, like a lot of the time. So excellent. Why are we watching this right now?
Well, here in the United States, we're just coming out of coronavirus lockdown, maybe heading back into it. Who knows? This virus is scary and weird, but we've been locked down for 3 months.
It's really isolating.
Who else feels isolated in this film?
Well, you got Matt Damon, who is basically like Tom Hanks in Castaway, but in space. So he's got to get scrappy to survive.
I'm not gonna die here.
And Mars is not a forgiving mistress.
You can say that again, but don't. Let's roll it.
You, Mars.
Okay, what I love about this as far as like our own survival and dealing with hard things is he actually positions the planet Mars as an opponent by talking smack to it. And now suddenly he's more on his home turf of, I can figure out how to defeat this opponent that's trying to kill me.
I mean, he's 50 million miles away from home. He thinks he's totally alone. He thinks we gave up on him. I mean, what does that do to him, man, psychologically? What the hell is he thinking right now?
I mean, I love that they asked this question because it's an important...
I'm definitely gonna die up here if I have to listen to any more god-awful disco music.
What does it do to a man psychologically? And this is something that we've talked about that we're not sure the film goes far enough into because it seems more interested in being first entertaining and second inspirational, right? And so you do have a bit of a superhuman aspect to Matt Damon, where to his character here, where I don't think he mourns enough. I don't think he rages enough. I don't think he, is hopeless and then gathers himself. God! I think Ridley Scott says...
I mean, the film touches on all of those things, but it very much glosses over them.
Yeah, it really wants to paint him as this all-American hero and basically, the Robert Redford of his era. And in that sense, I mean, it does a really good job. It's a very fun film.
Sure.
But I think, what does this do to a man psychologically? They ask that question, very somber, very serious, and it's a setup or a joke.
Right.
And which is fine. If filmmakers decide what tone they want to tell. But you could just as easily make this same overall story and make it an intense psychodrama.
Oh, absolutely.
You could do the exact, even the same arc and the same narrative of how he gets off, and but they choose to make it peppy and fun, and I can't fault them for it. Honestly, I'm sure it made a lot more money because of that.
Somebody made that movie. It's called Ad Astra, and I hated it.
I see myself from the outside. Smile, present a side.
Well, and people take inspiration from things that aren't strictly speaking realistic, but they do give them emotionally the charge they need to keep going.
Oh, sure.
No one's going to be stuck on Mars and be this peppy.
No.
In your face, Neil Armstrong.
But we take comfort in that. We take comfort in the idea of we can do anything if we have a positive attitude and set ourselves to work. And I don't disagree with the sentiment. I think to be a little more realistic, we would go further down anxiety and depression than we do here. But I don't fault the filmmakers for wanting to inspire people in a fun, entertaining way.
So here he is, living his best life, making TikTok videos on Mars.
Okay, so he hates the disco music, and now he's embracing the disco music. I cannot tell you how many people I've seen post on social media. They're like, I succumbed. I've run out of entertainment options in quarantine. I finally watched Spice World from 1997, the Spice Girls movie.
We're the Spice Girls, yes indeed. Just girl power is all we need. We know how we got this far. Strength and courage in a wonder bra.
And it was horrible, but I needed something. Like, So he's leaning into this, right? We all find ourselves, and you start, like, what happens if you run out of food? You start to eat the things that you never thought you'd eat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
Yo, Hansa, Jesus.
Recycling their own, all the filth from everybody else for fertilizer.
Yep.
Oh gosh. I do liken this though to there are tasks that we definitely would rather not do in our lives that frankly you just gotta do.
Yeah.
Like there are certain places you gotta wear a mask. You don't wanna wear a mask. But
Nobody wants to wear a mask. Masks aren't fun, but
Right?
it's like, come on, let's take care of each other, let's take care of ourselves, and just put the mask on.
Let's do the math. Our service mission here was supposed to last.
So you can hear
souls. For redundancy,
the music
that's
here
68 souls worth of food. That's for 6 people.
is
So for just me,
hopeful.
that's gonna
If you're
last
paying
300
attention, the
souls,
piano
which
is
I
actually
figure
reverse
is 400
notes.
is high ration. So
So he's taking
I gotta figure out
a
way
semi-sad
to
theme,
grow
turned it into a major chord, and then reverse notes,
on a planet where nothing grows.
which very subtly is telling you,
Luckily.
I'm pulling myself out of this.
I never would have noticed that. That's
I'm a
brilliant.
botanist. Mars will come to fear my botany powers.
Once again, Mars is my opponent.
Yep. This is after the explosion that has killed all of his crops, frozen all of his dirt. He can't grow anything.
Yeah, so these are the
He's-
ones that were safely tucked away.
These are the ones that are safely tucked away, and he's terrified right now because there's a storm just like the one that nearly killed him and trapped him on Mars that's blowing against his habitat that just has a plastic cover on the outside of it.
Can you imagine how cold that would be?
And he's trying to distract himself. Just focus on the task at hand.
Yeah.
Not think about the fact that I'm just about to get sucked out into the vacuum of Mars.
Yeah.
And so he's counting potatoes.
If I'm shooting what could be 2 free throws to either tie the game, win the game, or lose the game, and there's there's 1,000 people behind the backboard, and they're waving their little balloons and screaming at me, I could think about, this is being televised on national television. All my friends and family are seeing this. Everybody's watching this. My team's counting on me. All the work we've put in my entire life to
Right.
get to the Final Four, right? And if I think about all that, it's too big, and there's no avoiding it. I will choke.
Yeah.
I will
and
fail.
and a sports psychologist will tell you to think about what? The hoop.
How many free throws have I hit?
Think about the hoop.
It's just the shot. It's just a shot, and that's what he's doing. Like, because if he really lets it in, game over.
Yeah, and so he's focusing and he's doing that. It's one of the, again, you know, you said we not realistically portray the amount of trauma that he's gone through. That is a great scene that shows some of the trauma, and Matt Damon does a great job of keeping it subtle, but really letting you in and seeing, like, I am absolutely terrified.
Well, some of the best acting is small,
Yeah,
right? Because when you show like abject terror versus somebody who's, I relate far more to a character who's trying to keep it together and the terror is showing through.
Yep.
And they can't, fight it back. So no, you're right.
The point is, I'm not cold anymore. And sure, I could choose to think about the fact that I'm warm because I have a decaying radioactive isotope riding right behind me, but right now I got bigger problems on my hands.
Well, and so the thing to take away from this is there are things that you shouldn't ignore because you can do something about them, right? But if you can't do something about them, it doesn't help to dwell on them.
right.
Right? If he could keep warm with a blanket, then it would be like, no, go ahead and put that decaying radioactive isotope away
Right.
and do something better. But since this is his option, it's this or death, it's like I know people who are being treated with chemo, and it's like if I had a way to not be treated with chemo, I would do that. But since I'm going to focus on this, or I'm going to focus on that, or I'm going to have a good sense of humor about it. So,
Sorry, we left you behind on Mars.
So this is the first time he's been able to communicate with his crew.
not real.
He's been talking to NASA for several months at this point, but he's never spoken with the crew yet.
How's Mars?
Dear Martinez, Mars is fine. I
You know, he's
accidentally
still Mark
blew up
Watney.
the
He's
hab.
a little snide and a little cutting, but he's mostly,
All of Commander
the emotion
Lewis's
is
disco
evident on his
music
face. And again,
still survived.
it's, Matt Damon is not playing it huge.
All of Commander Lewis.
He's keeping it subtle, but there's a lot happening.
Every day,
yeah,
I
the
go
sheer
outside
joy of
and look at
connection,
the vast
even if it's
horizons.
sarcastic connection,
Every day I go outside.
Some people don't speak sarcasm, or
Yes.
some people use it as a
because I
weapon.
can.
Right.
But
Just because,
sarcasm
yeah.
properly deployed,
To all the others.
for people who struggle with vulnerability, it's a way to express affection.
Yep.
Or maybe not struggle, maybe that's not even the right phrase. Maybe that's just how they communicate. That's
Some
their
people
style.
just communicate that way.
Yeah. And there can be tremendous warmth in teasing and giving each other crap. You know?
Yeah.
About 2 minutes, Watney. How you doing down there?
I'm good. I'm anxious to get up to you. Thanks for coming back for me.
Well, we're on it. Remember, you'll be pulling some serious G's, so it's okay to pass out. You're in Martinez's hands now.
Well, tell that no barrel rolls.
Again, using
Copy that.
sarcasm.
I love in Damon's performance there, when he's so close to the finish line is when he finally gets choked up and, you know, and nervous. And I think of, there have been several times in my life, sometime I'll tell you about the story of the guy with the butcher knife and his wife when we talked him into giving us the knife and not hurting his wife. I'll tell you that story sometime.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was a situation where I was completely calm. This was not in therapy. This is just a life experience where I was completely calm and cool like the whole time when I should have been freaking out. And then the moment it was over,
You walked away from it in shakes. And the
yeah,
whole thing.
no, uncontrollable shaking and just fell apart. Sounds like you've had similar experiences. Yeah.
Been there.
And you see that here, like he has had to be strong for so long, and he's had to be focused for so long, he can't let it in. Because
and at this point, he's strapped into a chair and he has no control over it. He can't do anything else at this point. So
Yeah.
for him, it's wind down time.
yeah, and he's got other people now, so it's not just him, and he can actually kind of let it in, and it rushes in hard. And it's a bit bigger acting from Damon than we've seen the rest of the film when it comes to emotion because it's been more restrained, but it's not the wrong acting choice for where he's
No.
at in his journey. Like
No,
that
it's-
would be where it overwhelms him.
Yeah, well, and like you were talking about, I don't know, viewers, if you've ever experienced the thing that Jono was talking about where you are in an incredibly intense situation, you're completely calm, and then you let go and you get the shakes afterwards, that adrenaline rush. It either, the adrenaline hits you or it fades and you just lose control.
And in my case, I felt terror after. Like once it was done, I was like, holy crap, that was terrifying.
Yeah, and it's, I hope you never have to experience that, but at the same time, you know, the choices that Matt Damon is making there seem big, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like physically, I can tell you when those things have happened to me, what he's doing there is much more subtle than the
reality. 'Cause
Literal,
the
like,
reality's like, yeah.
it's you just completely lose it.
At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin.
So I wanted to talk to you about
You
this
do the
scene
math. You solve one problem, then you solve the next one.
because it seems like
And then the
really
next.
great
And
advice.
If you solve enough problems, you get to come home.
Is it psychologically,
All right.
you know,
Questions?
not just applicable, but
Yeah.
is it psychologically conceivable to, in your life, whatever your issues may be, you're probably not going to be trapped on Mars,
Yeah.
but whatever your issues are, is that the approach or?
There is wisdom and danger in the rhetoric that caps this film, candidly. Everything's gonna go south and you could think, this is it, this is how I end, or you can get to work, do the math, figure it out. The truth of it, and the positive thing about it is, if you give in to despair, then you stop looking for solutions.
Right.
And I'm not talking about feeling despair. I think you have to let those moments run their course. The danger of the ideology here, though, is if you just work hard at it and don't give up, you can solve any problem. And there are problems that are unsolvable.
Right.
If I have terminal cancer, I can take steps and play the odds and it might go well for me, but I can't willpower, think, or science my way out of it.
Right.
This movie kind of posits something different than radical acceptance, this idea of we can overcome anything USA, USA.
Yeah,
right?
it's such an American thing.
Well, and it's a double-edged sword because it's one of the best things about America, and it's also one of the things that
It's one of our hugest failings too.
yeah,
for sure.
Look at the space race and getting to the moon. Like that whole idea, that whole spirit is what got us that whole belief. But sometimes you have to accept the reality that's presented to you. Not sometimes, all the time you accept the reality that's presented to you, and you do the absolute best you can with that. In his case, the absolute best he could do as a genius, highly educated, highly trained botanist astronaut.
If I run the hydrazine over an iridium catalyst, it'll separate into N2 and H2.
With a team of people working their butts off at home for him.
You're Mars.
Is better than if somehow I ended up on Mars.
Yeah, how long would you have lasted?
Not long at all. And there is no do the math if I don't know the math, and I have no way of learning the math, right?
Yep.
Point is, I do think we can overcome seemingly insurmountable things, but sometimes the best we can do is accept our situation with dignity and see how much good we can do within it.
And on that uplifting note, this has been Cinema Therapy. Jonathan Decker has been reacting to The Martian, and what a reaction it was.
Thank you very much. If you would like to meet with me, I do a free 15-minute consultation, link in the description. You want to rent or buy The Martian, link is in the description. We get a little sweet kickback that helps us to produce, not kickback, we're an affiliate, man. We're an affiliate. We get affiliate money. It's not much, but it helps us to produce this show. Where can they find us?
If you would like to find us on social media, go to @therapy_cinema. If you would like to subscribe to this channel, I would like you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell, because then you'll get notifications and you'll know when we post videos.
And you know you want more of this. So until next time, recycle your own defecation.
You Mars. And watch movies.
Oh no!
Yep, I will.
No, he
believe it,
will.
and it will be hilarious.
Especially because that was my genuine reaction.